The skies over Earth were tranquil, a canvas of blues and whites that had witnessed the ascent of humanity from the fires of creation to the dawn of space exploration. This serenity, however, was about to be pierced by an event unprecedented in human history. High above the atmosphere, a ripple in space unfolded like a flower blooming in fast forward, giving birth to a vessel of such immense size and otherworldly design that it dwarfed the International Space Station orbiting nearby. News of the vessel's sudden appearance spread like wildfire across the globe. Satellites trained their lenses on it, while on the ground, telescopes both amateur and professional swiveled skyward. The world held its breath, wondering whether this was a prelude to invasion or a visitation of a more benign nature. The vessel, its hull a tapestry of technologies unknown to man, descended slowly, making its intentions unclear. Governments scrambled jets and military forces were put on high alert, yet the vessel made no aggressive moves. It simply hovered, silent and imposing, over the United Nations headquarters in New York. Then, without warning, a communication was broadcast globally, in every language known to man, a message that was as shocking as the vessel's appearance. People of Earth, we are the Zentari. We come seeking your aid. The world's reaction was a cacophony of disbelief, fear, and curiosity. The United Nations, acting as the voice of humanity, extended an invitation to the Zentari to land and speak. The vessel responded by dispatching a smaller craft, which touched down with grace on the grounds of the United Nations, under the watchful eyes of the world. From this craft emerged beings that were unmistakably alien, yet not entirely unlike humans. Bipedal and clothed in garments that shimmered with an ethereal light, the Zentari delegation was led by Ambassador Xilan, a figure of dignity and palpable concern. As they entered the United Nations building, their message was clear. Their mighty army, capable of traversing galaxies and subduing stars, was on the brink of defeat. Their enemy, the Void Swarm, was a terror of the cosmos, consuming all in its path. The Zentari spoke of their long and bitter struggle against the swarm, a fight that had pushed their civilization to the brink of extinction. They spoke of the swarm's relentless advance, how world after world had fallen, leaving the Zentari with no option but to seek help from a species they had observed but never contacted: humanity. The revelation that Earth was not alone in the universe was monumental, but the request for military assistance was even more staggering. The Zentari had technology that dwarfed humanity's current capabilities, yet they sought not weapons or soldiers, but the unique ingenuity and adaptability that humans had demonstrated throughout their history. Ambassador Xilan's plea was heartfelt and desperate. "We have witnessed your wars, your strategies, and your resilience," he said. "Our technology and might have failed to stop the swarm. We need your creativity, your unpredictability. Help us, and in return, we will share with you the knowledge of the stars." The world was left to ponder this request. Here was a chance to step onto the galactic stage, to help a civilization in need, and in doing so secure humanity's place among the stars. But it was also a gamble, involving Earth in a conflict of unimaginable scale. The choice would shape the future of humanity and possibly the fate of the galaxy. As the Zentari waited, the people of Earth engaged in fervent discussion. The prospect of alien allies and the promise of advanced technology was enticing, but the threat of the Void Swarm loomed large. The decision would not be easy, but it was clear that whatever choice humanity made, nothing would ever be the same again. The Assembly Hall of the United Nations was packed to its brim, a sea of faces representing every nation on Earth, each person marked by a mixture of anxiety and wonder. The Zentari delegation stood at the center, their otherworldly presence a stark contrast against the backdrop of national flags. Ambassador Xilan, with a gravity that silenced the murmurs of the crowd, began to share the dire circumstances that led the Zentari to Earth's doorstep. "Centuries ago," Xilan's voice resonated, translated seamlessly into the headphones worn by the assembly, "our scouts encountered the Void Swarm at the edge of our galaxy. They are not merely an enemy, they are a cataclysm, a sentient black tide that devours planets, stars, and life, leaving nothing but void in their wake." Images projected behind Xilan depicted the swarm. monstrous entities that blurred the line between machine and organism, each capture showing worlds engulfed and civilizations extinguished. The Centauri explained how their advanced technology, which allowed them to manipulate gravitational fields and harness the power of suns, was systematically dismantled and consumed by the swarm's insatiable hunger. Our military might is vast, encompassing fleets that can darken skies and warriors whose bravery knows no bounds. Yet against the swarm, we find ourselves outmatched. Our strategies become predictable, our defenses eventually overwhelmed. In our quest for a solution, we turned our eyes to the stars, to you. The Centauri laid out their request. A coalition, not of technology or brute force, but of minds. They believed that human creativity, the ability to think outside the confines of conventional warfare, could provide the strategies needed to halt the swarm. In exchange, humanity would gain access to Centauri knowledge and technology, catapulting Earth into a new era of prosperity and interstellar capability. "We do not ask this lightly," Xilan concluded. "The swarm is relentless, and their gaze will inevitably turn to your world. Together, however, we believe we can forge a future where both our civilizations might thrive." The assembly erupted into whispers and debates. The proposition was staggering. An alliance with an alien race to fight a seemingly invincible foe. The risks were immense. Not only the immediate danger of the conflict, but the long-term implications of such a partnership. Yet the opportunity was unparalleled. To save a friendly civilization from extinction, to defend the galaxy from a consuming horror, and to elevate humanity to the stars. As the assembly adjourned, the world's leaders convened in a flurry of discussions, weighing the moral imperative against the strategic and political considerations. The decision was monumental, requiring not just the agreement of Earth's varied governments, but the consensus of its people. The choice to help the Centauri would mean a commitment beyond anything humanity had ever undertaken, a leap into the unknown that could alter the course of history. In the days that followed, as debates raged and plans were drawn, a sense of unity began to emerge. The realization that Earth had a role to play in the larger cosmos, that the fate of another civilization rested in human hands, galvanized the population. The decision, when it finally came, was nearly unanimous. Humanity would stand with the Centauri. Together, they would face the Void Swarm, not just for the survival of two civilizations, but for the defense of life itself in the galaxy. The alliance was a beacon of hope, a testament to the power of cooperation across the stars. The battle ahead would be daunting, but in unity, there was strength. And so the greatest chapter in human history began, not with a whisper, but with a declaration of solidarity that echoed across the cosmos. In the aftermath of the Centauri's request, the world found itself at a crossroads. While the prospect of advancing humanity's technology and securing a place among the stars was tantalizing, the fear of the unknown and the risks of interstellar warfare weighed heavily on the global consciousness. Debate raged in every nation, from the hallowed halls of parliaments to the dinner tables of ordinary citizens. Skepticism ran rampant, with concerns about the motives of the Centauri, the nature of the Void Swarm, and the potential consequences of failure. Intellectual circles buzzed with analysis and speculation. Scientists and military experts were divided, some arguing that the Centauri's advanced technology could offer solutions to Earth's most pressing problems, while others feared that humanity was not ready for the leap to galactic warfare. News channels and social media platforms were ablaze with opinions, creating a cacophony of voices that represented the breadth of human thought and emotion. Amid the turmoil, a series of clandestine meetings took place, gathering Earth's most influential leaders, military strategists, and scientific minds. These meetings, held under the strictest secrecy, aimed to cut through the noise and assess the viability of the Centauri's proposition. The discussions were intense, with every possible outcome meticulously analyzed. The consensus was clear. The risk of inaction was greater than the peril of joining the fight. If the Centauri fell, Earth would be the swarm's next target, and humanity would face extinction. The decision to aid the Centauri was not made lightly. It was a gamble, staking Earth's future on the hope that human ingenuity could turn the tide against a seemingly invincible foe. Yet it was also a reflection of humanity's indomitable spirit, a willingness to reach out across the void and grasp the hand extended in friendship and desperation. The announcement of Earth's decision to join forces with the Centauri was broadcast worldwide, a historic moment that united the planet like never before. The message was one of hope, courage, and determination, echoing the sentiment that had gradually taken root among the populace. Humanity would not stand by while another civilization fought for its survival. Earth would rise to the challenge, lending its creativity and resolve to the battle against the Void Swarm. The response was overwhelmingly positive, with millions rallying to the cause. Recruitment centers for the newly formed Earth-Centauri coalition forces were flooded with volunteers, eager to play their part in the upcoming conflict. Scientists and engineers worked tirelessly, integrating Centauri technology with human innovation, while military strategists devised tactics that blended the best of both worlds. As preparations for war progressed, a sense of unity and purpose enveloped the globe. Humanity stood on the brink of a new dawn, poised to defend not just the Centauri, but the very fabric of life in the galaxy. The road ahead was fraught with danger, but for the first time, Earth's inhabitants faced the future not as divided nations, but as members of a galactic community, ready to fight for a cause greater than themselves. The decision to aid the Centauri against the Void Swarm ignited a flurry of activity across Earth. The formation of the Earth-Centauri coalition forces marked the beginning of the largest mobilization in human history. It was a time of unprecedented collaboration, as nations set aside their differences, pooling resources, knowledge, and expertise to face the common threat. Military bases around the globe were transformed into interstellar boot camps, where human soldiers and Centauri warriors trained side by side. These training programs were designed to blend the tactical prowess and combat techniques of both species. Humans were introduced to Centauri energy weapons and shield technologies, marveling at their efficiency and power. Meanwhile, the Centauri learned human guerrilla tactics and adaptability, traits they found invaluable for the unpredictable nature of warfare against the swarm. Parallel to the military efforts, scientific collaboration reached new heights. Joint human-Centauri research teams worked around the clock, striving to integrate Earth's technology with alien engineering. The initiative led to the development of hybrid technologies, including faster-than-light travel for human vessels, advanced medical facilities capable of treating both human and Centauri physiology, and new weapon systems designed specifically to counter the swarm's biomechanical monstrosities. Public support for the war effort was overwhelming. Industries across the planet shifted their focus to support the coalition forces, manufacturing everything from spacecraft components to personal armor. Universities and think tanks contributed by solving complex logistical and strategic problems, ensuring that the coalition would have every advantage possible. Amid the whirlwind of preparation, a profound transformation occurred within the hearts and minds of Earth's inhabitants. The alliance with the Centauri, born out of necessity, blossomed into genuine friendship and mutual respect. Stories of shared laughter, tears, and moments of understanding between human and Centauri soldiers filled the media, fostering a sense of camaraderie that transcended species. As the coalition forces grew stronger, so did their resolve. The Void Swarm, an enemy that had once seemed an unstoppable force of nature, now faced an opponent unlike any other, a united front of human creativity and Centauri might. The strategies devised were unorthodox, leveraging the element of surprise and the unique strengths of both civilizations. Simulations and war games suggested that these new tactics could indeed tip the scales in their favor. The final piece of the preparation puzzle was the formation of the First Galactic Fleet, a formidable armada comprising the most advanced warships from both Earth and the Centauri. Commanded by Admiral Nora Khan, a veteran of Earth's naval forces, and General Zaran, a distinguished Centauri strategist, the fleet represented the pinnacle of the coalition's military capability. It was a symbol of hope, not just for the survival of the Centauri, but for the future of all life threatened by the Void Swarm. As the fleet assembled in orbit, ready to embark on its mission, Earth bid farewell to its defenders with a mix of pride and apprehension. Across the planet, people looked up at the night sky, their thoughts with the brave souls about to face the unknown. The preparations for war, a monumental testament to the power of unity and cooperation, were complete. Humanity and the Zentari stood together, poised to venture into the void and confront the darkness that awaited them. The First Galactic Fleet, a sprawling armada of human and Zentari vessels, set its course toward the front lines of the conflict against the Void Swarm. The journey was silent, a tense calm before the storm, as ships slipped through the fabric of space, utilizing Zentari warp technology that bent reality itself to bridge the vast distances of the cosmos. Within the confines of these ships, soldiers from Earth and Zentari warriors stood side by side, united by a common cause but divided by a universe of experience. The initial interactions were cautious, each side observing the other with a mixture of curiosity and uncertainty. However, as the fleet neared its destination, shared training and joint briefings began to erode the barriers between them. Commander Sarah Zhang, leading a mixed unit of human marines and Zentari shock troops, found herself at the forefront of this cultural exchange. Her journal entries, broadcast back to Earth and across Zentari channels, told tales of camaraderie and mutual respect that blossomed in the cold expanse of space. She wrote of the Zentari's fierce dedication and their awe of human creativity and resilience, while also expressing her admiration for the Zentari's advanced tactics and their unwavering courage. Meanwhile, the fleet's scientists and engineers, working in tandem, made final adjustments to the Coalition's weaponry and defenses. They shared insights and breakthroughs, achieving leaps in technological integration that would have taken decades under normal circumstances. This collaborative spirit extended to the fleet's medical teams, who prepared to treat injuries both human and alien, their shared goal of preservation forging strong bonds. As the fleet approached the edge of swarm-controlled space, a hush fell over the assembled ships. The vastness ahead was dotted with the eerie light of stars consumed by the swarm, a grim reminder of the enemy's devastating power. Admiral Nora Khan and General Zarin, aboard the flagship Unity's Vanguard, addressed the fleet, their speeches a rallying cry that echoed through every ship and heart. "Our journey here was powered by hope," Admiral Khan began, her voice steady and clear. "Hope that together we can turn back the tide of darkness that threatens our worlds. Today, we stand on the brink, not as humans or Zentari, but as defenders of life itself." General Zarin continued, his deep voice resonating with conviction. "The swarm knows no mercy, no hesitation, but they have never faced an adversary like us. Together we bring a storm they cannot withstand. For our homes, for our families, and for the future, we will fight, and we will prevail." The fleet's arrival did not go unnoticed. Swarm scouts, grotesque amalgamations of organic and mechanical horror, detected the fleet and converged on their position. The first engagement was swift, a brutal welcome to the front lines. Swarm ships, seemingly simplistic but devastatingly effective, launched volleys of corrosive projectiles that ate through armor and flesh alike. The Coalition forces responded with disciplined fire, utilizing the hybrid weaponry developed by human and Zentari engineers. Energy shields flared under the onslaught, holding firm against the swarm's assault, while return fire from the fleet's main guns tore through the enemy ranks with precision and ferocity. The battle raged, a chaotic dance of light and destruction that stretched across the void. Each salvo from the Coalition forces was met with a relentless surge of swarm attackers, their numbers seemingly inexhaustible. Yet amidst the chaos, the Coalition held the line, their combined strength a testament to the unity forged between two very different peoples. Commander Zhang, leading her mixed unit in a boarding action against a swarm hive ship, found herself at the heart of the conflict. The interior of the hive was a nightmare of biological and mechanical integration, a labyrinth that tested the limits of both human and Zentari combat training. Yet step by step they advanced, clearing the hive of its defenders and planting charges to destroy it from within. As the charges detonated, obliterating the hive ship in a blaze of light, the fleet cheered, their first victory a hard-fought testament to their determination and skill. The battle was but the first of many, yet it served as a crucial reminder. Together, humanity and the Centauri could face the darkness and emerge victorious. The journey into the fray was over, but the war against the Void Swarm was just beginning. With their resolve hardened and their alliance strengthened, the coalition forces prepared to dive deeper into enemy territory, ready to fight for every inch of the galaxy against the consuming tide of the swarm. Following their initial victory, the First Galactic Fleet pushed deeper into swarm territory, the darkness of space around them a stark reminder of the threat they faced. The Void Swarm, an enemy like no other, responded to the Coalition's incursion with ferocious intensity. Swarm vessels, seemingly endless in number, swarmed the fleet from all directions, their biomechanical forms glistening ominously in the void. Admiral Khan, aboard the flagship Unity's Vanguard **, orchestrated the fleet's response with calm precision, while General Zarin's strategic acumen guided their maneuvers. The Coalition's vessels, a mixture of human ingenuity and Centauri technology, moved as one, weaving through the enemy onslaught with surprising agility. The first major engagement occurred near a devastated planetary system, once a thriving Centauri colony, now a graveyard of worlds consumed by the swarm. It was here that the Coalition planned to make their stand, to strike a decisive blow that would echo across the cosmos. Commander Zhang's unit, now veterans of the conflict, led a daring assault on the swarm's flagship, a monstrous vessel that dwarfed even the largest ships in the Coalition fleet. Boarding pods designed by human and Centauri engineers to penetrate the swarm's bio-armor launched from the Unity's Vanguard **, each one carrying a mixed team of human and Centauri soldiers. The interior of the swarm flagship was a horror beyond comprehension. The walls pulsed with organic life, and the air was thick with the stench of decay. Yet the Coalition forces pressed on, driven by a determination to end the swarm's threat once and for all. The battle within the flagship was brutal. Swarm defenders, creatures of nightmare fused with machinery, attacked with mindless ferocity. But the Coalition soldiers fought back with equal fierceness, their weapons carving a path through the enemy toward the ship's core. Meanwhile, the fleet engaged the swarm in a battle of attrition. Energy cannons roared, tearing through the enemy ranks, while fighters danced between the larger vessels, their pilots pushing their ships to the limit. The swarm's numbers were vast, but the Coalition's tactics, a blend of human unpredictability and Centauri precision, began to turn the tide. As Commander Zhang's team reached the flagship's core, they encountered the swarm's queen, a colossal entity that commanded its forces with a singular, malevolent will. The confrontation was unlike any before, a clash of wills as much as weaponry. In the end, it was a well-placed shot from Zhang herself that brought the queen down, severing the hive mind's control over the swarm forces. With the queen's death, chaos erupted among the swarm ranks. The Coalition fleet seized the opportunity, launching a full-scale assault that shattered the enemy's resolve. As the swarm flagship detonated, a wave of relief and triumph swept through the Coalition forces. They had achieved the impossible, striking a crippling blow against the Void Swarm. The victory was celebrated across the fleet, but there was little time for rest. The swarm was wounded, but not defeated. The Coalition had proven that they could stand against the darkness, but the war was far from over. As the fleet regrouped and prepared to press their advantage, the bonds between human and Centauri soldiers grew stronger. They had faced the abyss together and emerged victorious. Ahead of them lay the heart of swarm territory and the greatest challenges yet to come. But in that moment of triumph, there was hope. Together, they had changed the course of the war, and perhaps the fate of the galaxy itself. The destruction of the swarm's flagship and the demise of its queen sent shockwaves through the enemy ranks, offering the Coalition forces a much-needed advantage. The victory was not just a tactical win, it was a beacon of hope, proving that the seemingly invincible swarm could be defeated. Emboldened, the Coalition pressed forward, intent on exploiting the chaos within the swarm's ranks to deliver a series of crippling blows. Admiral Khan and General Zarin, analyzing the aftermath of the engagement, identified key swarm nexuses, planetary systems transformed into hives that served as production yards for the swarm's endless fleets. Destroying these nexuses would not only disrupt the swarm's ability to replenish its forces, but also provide valuable intelligence on their operations. The coalition set its sights on these targets, launching a campaign that would take them deep into the heart of enemy territory. The first target was a system shrouded in darkness, its stars dimmed by the swarm's insatiable hunger. Commander Zhang, now leading an elite task force comprised of the coalition's best, was tasked with the ground assault on the primary nexus. Her team, a mix of human and Centauri commandos, had become a symbol of the coalition's strength and unity, their victories a testament to the power of collaboration. As the coalition fleet engaged swarm defenders in orbit, Zhang's team infiltrated the nexus. The operation was perilous. The nexus was heavily defended, its corridors a maze of traps and swarm combatants. Yet the task force moved with precision, guided by intelligence gathered from their previous victory. They encountered resistance at every turn, but their determination was unwavering. The goal was clear: plant a series of high-yield charges at the Nexus's core and escape before detonation. Meanwhile, in the space around the besieged system, the battle raged with ferocity. The swarm, though leaderless, fought with desperate aggression. However, the coalition's ships, now veterans of the conflict, maneuvered with lethal efficiency, their weapon systems enhanced by Centauri technology cutting through the enemy with ease. Fighter pilots wove between the larger ships, their craft darting shadows against the backdrop of space, each strike bringing the coalition closer to victory. Back on the Nexus, Zhang and her team reached the core, encountering the last line of swarm defenders. It was here that the fiercest fighting took place, a brutal confrontation in the heart of darkness. The coalition commandos fought valiantly, their resolve never faltering. With the charges set, Zhang gave the order to retreat, and the team made their harrowing escape, racing against time as the countdown to detonation began. The explosion that followed was monumental, a blinding flash that obliterated the Nexus and sent shockwaves throughout the system. The coalition fleet, watching from a safe distance, cheered as debris from the Nexus rained down like shooting stars, a symbol of their hard-fought victory. The campaign against the Nexuses continued, each operation further weakening the swarm's grip on the galaxy. With every victory, the coalition grew stronger, their tactics more refined. The Centauri shared their deepest knowledge of the swarm, while humanity's ingenuity provided new ways to counter the enemy's might. As news of the victories spread, morale soared among the coalition forces and their supporters back home. The tide of the war was turning, not through sheer might, but through the courage, determination, and unity of those who stood against the darkness. The path ahead remained fraught with danger, but for the first time since the war began, there was a sense of optimism. The coalition, a partnership forged in the fires of conflict, had become a force unlike any the galaxy had seen. Together, they faced the future, not as separate races, but as allies bound by a shared purpose, to end the swarm's reign of terror and secure a future for all. With a string of decisive victories behind them, the coalition forces prepared for their most daring operation yet, an assault on the Void Swarm's central hive, located in the heart of swarm-controlled space. Intelligence gathered from the destroyed nexuses revealed the location of this central hive, a gargantuan structure that sprawled across an entire dead planet, its surface a writhing mass of swarm biomachinery. It was the source of the swarm's seemingly endless forces, and its destruction could spell the end of the war. The plan was audacious, requiring the coalition to penetrate deep into enemy territory, where the swarm was thickest. The journey itself was fraught with danger, as the fleet navigated through sectors of space where the laws of physics were bent and twisted by the swarm's corrupting influence. Space itself seemed to resist their advance, with gravitational anomalies and corrosive nebulae threatening to tear the fleet apart. But under Admiral Khan's steady command, and with the Centauri's intimate knowledge of these warped regions, the coalition pressed on, undeterred. As they approached the central hive, the scale of the challenge became apparent. The swarm, sensing the threat, converged on the coalition fleet in numbers never before seen. The sky was filled with the enemy, a living curtain of darkness that sought to envelop them, but the coalition was ready. Battle formations, perfected over countless engagements, sprang into action, and the void lit up with the fire of 1,000 cannons. Commander Zhang, leading the ground assault team, faced the daunting task of infiltrating the hive planet. The coalition had developed a new type of drop pod, shielded against the swarm's corrosive attacks and capable of breaching the hive's outer defenses. Zhang's team, a mix of the coalition's elite, embarked on their pods, plunging into the heart of darkness as the space around them erupted in battle. The drop was harrowing, the pods shaking violently as they descended through the hive's thick atmosphere, streaks of fire marking their passage. But the landing was precise, the pods piercing the hive's outer shell and depositing the team into its nightmarish interior. The central hive was a labyrinth of horror, its corridors alive with the movement of the swarm. Every step was contested, every corner a potential ambush, but Zhang's team pushed forward, guided by a map of the hive's layout obtained through the sacrifices of countless Zentari scouts. Their objective was the hive's core, a massive chamber where the swarm's queens resided. These queens, larger and more terrifying than the one Zhang had previously encountered, were the central nexus of the swarm's collective mind. Destroying them would send the swarm into disarray, crippling their ability to coordinate and regenerate. As the team fought their way deeper into the hive, the fleet above waged a desperate battle to keep the swarm occupied. Admiral Khan and General Zaran coordinated their forces with precision, creating a protective bulwark around the planet, ensuring that Zhang's team had the time they needed. The final push to the core was the most intense fight of Zhang's career. Every member of her team was pushed to their limits, their resolve tested as they confronted the swarm's queens. The battle was fierce, a maelstrom of energy weapons and biomechanical fury. But through sheer determination, skill, and the bonds forged in the heat of battle, Zhang's team prevailed. The queens were destroyed, and the hive core was set to implode. As the team made their escape, the central hive began to collapse, its destruction a signal to the fleet above. The coalition forces, witnessing the hive's demise, knew that their mission was accomplished. The central hive's destruction marked the beginning of the end for the swarm. The galaxy had been given a chance to heal, to rebuild from the devastation wrought by the endless war. The coalition's victory at the central hive was not just a military triumph. It was a symbol of what could be achieved when diverse civilizations united against a common foe. Humanity and the Zentari, once strangers from distant stars, had become allies in the truest sense, their partnership a beacon of hope for a brighter future. In the aftermath of the central hive's destruction, the coalition forces regrouped, bracing themselves for the Void Swarm's last stand. With their queens annihilated and their coordination centers in ruins, the swarm descended into chaos. But even in disarray, they remained a formidable foe, driven by a primal instinct to consume and destroy. The final battle for the galaxy's future was on the horizon, a confrontation that would determine the fate of countless worlds. Admiral Khan, aboard the Unity's Vanguard Asterisk, assessed the situation with calm resolve. The swarm was amassing for a final assault, gathering what remained of their forces for an all-out attack on the coalition fleet. This was the moment the coalition had been preparing for, the culmination of years of struggle, sacrifice, and unity. The battlefield was set in the void between stars, a vast expanse where light from distant suns barely reached. Here, the final confrontation would take place, a battle not just for survival, but for the soul of the galaxy. As the swarm advanced, a sea of darkness against the speckled backdrop of space, the coalition fleet stood ready. Ships from Earth and the Zentari, once unthinkable allies, now formed a single, indomitable force. Every cannon was charged, every shield at full strength, every soldier and warrior prepared to lay down their lives for the cause. The battle commenced with a fury that shook the void. Swarm ships, countless in number, clashed with the coalition fleet, their corrosive weaponry tearing through the darkness. The coalition's response was swift and brutal, their combined firepower cutting swathes through the enemy ranks. In the heart of the conflict, Commander Zhang led a contingent of special forces on a critical mission. Their target was the swarm's command ship, a massive vessel that directed the assault. Breaching the ship amid the chaos of battle, Zhang and her team fought their way through its corridors, determined to capture or destroy the swarm's last semblance of leadership. The fighting was fierce, the cost of every inch gained measured in blood and sacrifice. But the coalition's resolve never wavered, their determination fueled by the knowledge that failure meant the end of everything they held dear. As Zhang's team reached the command ship's core, they encountered the swarm's final defense, a queen, larger and more formidable than any they had faced before. The battle that ensued was desperate and brutal, a clash of wills that epitomized the struggle that had raged across the galaxy. Meanwhile, the fleet engaged in a relentless push against the swarm, Admiral Khan and General Zaran coordinating their forces with unmatched precision. The tide of the battle shifted slowly but inexorably in the coalition's favor, as swarm ships began to falter and break under the relentless assault. The turning point came when Zhang, in a daring maneuver, managed to destroy the command ship's core, taking the Queen with it. The explosion that followed was a signal to the coalition forces, a beacon of victory in the darkness. With their command structure obliterated, the swarm's assault crumbled. What remained of their forces retreated into the void, pursued by coalition ships determined to ensure that the threat would never rise again. The final battle was won, but the victory was bittersweet. The coalition had triumphed, but at a great cost. Many brave souls had been lost, and the scars of war would take generations to heal. Yet, amidst the sorrow, there was hope. The coalition, forged in the fires of conflict, had proven that unity could overcome the darkest threats. Humanity and the Zentari, once strangers, now looked to the future as allies, their bond unbreakable. As the fleet returned home, they were met with celebrations across the galaxy. Worlds that had been under the shadow of the swarm now saw the light of freedom, their people looking forward to a future of peace and cooperation. The war against the Void Swarm was over, but the legacy of the coalition would live on. They had shown the galaxy that when faced with annihilation, courage, unity, and hope could prevail. The final battle was not just the end of the war, it was the beginning of a new era, an age of exploration, understanding, and shared destiny among the stars. The dust settled across the cosmos, the void silent once more, save for the soft hum of coalition ships making their journey back to their respective worlds. The war against the Void Swarm had ended, leaving behind a galaxy forever changed. Worlds once teeming with life, now recovering from the brink of extinction, bore the scars of the conflict, a testament to the cost of their hard-won freedom. On Earth and across Zentari planets, the return of the coalition forces was met with jubilation and mourning. Cities and settlements, draped in the colors of both civilizations, hosted memorials and victory parades. The heroes of the war were honored, their names etched into monuments that stood as enduring reminders of their sacrifice. Among them, Commander Zhang and her team were celebrated for their bravery, symbolizing the unity and resilience that had turned the tide of the war. In the aftermath, humanity and the Zentari faced the monumental task of rebuilding. The coalition, initially formed out of necessity, evolved into a lasting alliance, its foundations built on mutual respect and shared aspirations. The exchange of knowledge and culture between the two species flourished, leading to advancements in technology, medicine, and science previously unimaginable. Together, they embarked on a mission to restore devastated worlds, seeding life where the swarm had left void. The legacy of the war extended beyond the realms of reconstruction and diplomacy. The conflict had unveiled the vastness of the galaxy and its myriad civilizations, some of which had silently observed the coalition's struggle against the swarm. Emboldened by the victory, a new galactic council was formed, inviting species from across the stars to share in dialogue and cooperation. Earth and the Zentari, once on the fringes of galactic affairs, now stood at the forefront of this burgeoning community, their experience against the swarm offering lessons in unity and perseverance. Admiral Khan and General Zaran, architects of the coalition's triumph, became ambassadors of peace, their leadership instrumental in guiding the galaxy through the challenges of post-war recovery. Their efforts ensured that the memory of the war served not as a harbinger of fear, but as a beacon of hope for future generations. As the galaxy healed, the stories of those who had fought in the war were passed down, becoming legends of valor and camaraderie that transcended species. The war had revealed the best and worst of what civilizations could achieve, teaching a humbling lesson in the value of cooperation and the strength found in diversity. The anniversary of the war's end became a galactic day of remembrance, observed by humans and Zentari alike. It was a day to honor the fallen, to celebrate the enduring alliance, and to look forward to the future with optimism. The ceremonies, held under the stars that had once borne witness to the conflict, were a testament to the enduring spirit of those who had fought for the galaxy's survival. In the years that followed, the Coalition explored new frontiers, encountering wonders and challenges in equal measure. But no matter what they faced, the legacy of their unity against the swarm guided them. They had stood together at the edge of oblivion and emerged victorious, forever changing the course of history. The war against the Void Swarm was a crucible that forged a new era of interstellar cooperation and understanding. Humanity and the Zentari, along with their allies across the stars, looked to the horizon with determination, ready to face whatever the future held. Together, they stepped into a new dawn, an age of exploration and hope, united by the bonds formed in the fires of war and strengthened by the promise of peace.